name's Yasmin Bukhari. I'm the elected General Secretary for AFSA. My role as the General Secretary is quite complicated. I tend to be the front-facing for AFSA, but I also do a lot of the back office sort of work as well for AFSA. So I'm the first person that organisations will contact me or individuals will contact me. I'm also responsible for the meeting with the Fire and Rescue Service that are going to host our national conference. I'll go and arrange a meeting with them. We'll sit down, we'll do the planning, etc. I also will authorise some of the funding for AFSA, some of the expenditure. I also write letters. I generally do a lot of work behind the scenes. So my day-to-day work is with Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service. I work in prevention and protection. I'm based at headquarters, and we basically work right across the 10 local authorities. And what we do is my particular role is to work with some of our communities that we find difficult to reach. So prevention work is very much around preventative work. So it's mostly around fire safety, electrical safety, road safety, etc. And our protection work, which is around business safety. So I get a lot involved in that piece of work as well, because disproportionately, nationally, we do tend to prosecute a lot more ethnic minority businesses. So I'm currently leading on a national piece of work in how we can effectively engage with ethnic minority businesses so they can comply with fire safety orders. So how do I balance the work that I do on a day-to-day basis with AFSA? It can be challenging, but it's possible. What I tend to do is that my day-to-day work is with Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service. However, with AFSA, I try and do that mostly in the evenings or weekends. It's about prioritising. I think I get that balance pretty well. I do that quite well. There are times when AFSA takes over, particularly as we're now running the 2-day conference. That can take over a little bit of my other work. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if I didn't get the support of the senior leadership team and also my line manager. So they absolutely support the work of AFSA. They see the benefit. They see the benefit in my personal development, but also how it supports the development of the organisation. In lots of different ways, really. I mean, the learning, for example, from these 2-day conference, I'll take that back to my organisation. We'll speak to other individuals within the Fire and Rescue Service about, some of the training that we've had here. I am the co-chair of the local Black and Ethnic Minority Staff Network for Greater Manchester, and will impart some of that knowledge to them, and also try and encourage them to come along to the AFSA conference. I suppose in a way for me, because I don't work in inclusion or in equalities directly, I think it kind of gives me the skills and the knowledge to understand what's happening currently, what's happening nationally. I do go and visit other organisations, share some of that learning from there. So it's around equalities, it's around inclusion, it's what's happening nationally. It keeps me up to date in terms of my knowledge. I think, well, for me, it's the fact that other members are at the other end of the phone. I can pick up the phone, I can speak to anyone, and if I'm concerned about anything or I'm anxious about anything, they're there for me, they're very supportive. It's a real strong network. Jack Tassing is at the other end of the phone. If there's any advice that I need from our national advisor, he's there. And again, for the chair, for the other executives, they're there at the other end of the phone, and it's really valuable. The one word I would describe AFSA is passion. Everyone has a real passion to drive the work that we're doing, which is around inclusion to the forefront. That's quite exciting, and it motivates me, and I feel passionate about it. So I think passion. I joined Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service 6 years ago, so since then. I went to my first national conference, which was in Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service, and I thought this is one of the best conferences I've been to, the learning that I came away with, so I got involved, and in fact I was encouraged to get involved, and you know, I haven't looked back. I remember going to the very first conference and thinking, we've got a really good attendance here, good speakers, but looking at now, we've got 170 delegates over 2 days, which is absolutely fantastic. Some of our speakers are great. You know, we're actually talking about subject areas which perhaps fire and rescue services have never talked about or even thought about, because we're talking about issues that affect communities that we're serving. For example, some of the speakers here today are talking about sexual abuse, domestic violence. We've got speakers talking about LGBT communities. So we're actually talking about communities that we serve on a day-to-day basis, but we don't necessarily understand. So this enables us to get a really good understanding of the communities.